No, that's not working at all. No. Okay. I'm sleep. I'm
Good
sleep.
morning.
No, y'all don't use sleep either.
$10. Are y'all ready to get started? All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hashtag CAP students, welcome to your first official session, session 1 of your hashtag CAP program. Today, October the 2nd, 2021. So the purpose of today's session will be to provide you the first 2 steps in our step process of the application and enrollment process. So today during the session, we're going to be discussing with you searching for schools and then some potential scholarships that you can research and apply for the next session. And also we'll discuss the ACT and SAT test requirements and how to prepare for those. Of course, your agenda will go as follows. In just a moment, you will have a greeting by our chapter president, Tawana Williams. And then we'll have a spin the wheel, meet your members, getting to know you activity by Lauren Denton. And then you will have a discussion with Dr. Rochelle Moore about searching for your colleges. And then you have discussed the ACT and SAT test by Dr. Randy Days. And then we'll discuss with you some next steps and some reminders for the hashtag CAP program, as well as some scholarship opportunities that you can apply for. And then a question and answer session by Shamika Fentress. We're going to give you an opportunity to do the same thing you did last time, where you wrote on your Jamboard and gave us some questions that we could answer for this session or next session. And then we'll have closing remarks by Janine Davis, our Vice President and Program Chair. So with no further ado, Ms. Tawana Williams, who's our president.
Good morning, hashtag CAP students, and welcome back to our first session of our yearly program. Thank you for investing in yourself by attending these sessions. We will invest in you by providing you the tools and the information that you will need to prepare you to pick the college of your choice. And at the end of the year, we'll celebrate you with those choices that you've made. The Alpha Delta Omega chapter has entrusted this committee to work with you to take you through this journey. And we will provide you expert facilitators and topics of interest chosen just for you. We've paired you with a mentor that you probably have already spoken to, or they have reached out to you. And that mentor is going to help you in between the sessions, as well as get to know you and see if there's anything that they can do to help you. Please take notes, ask questions, and stay engaged. So on behalf of the Alpha Delta Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, I bring you greetings and best of luck during this year.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Next, students, you're going to have a meet your members activity by Ms. Lauren Denton. And before you do that, can you take a moment, as a reminder, take a moment and type your name in the chat box so we can take attendance for this session. So Lauren, go ahead.
Good morning, hashtag CAP members. I'm going to share my screen because we will be doing a quick energizer. All of us aren't morning people, and it is Saturday morning. We thank you again for taking the time. So I want to show you all the spin the wheel, and it looks like, who else has access? Because I had to switch computers and I might not have capability to share my screen. What I'm just realizing.
So I can click stop share and you can try it again.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
So let's see. Still giving me some trouble. If someone can just share the screen. and I can explain everybody how it's going to go. Basically, we have a spin the wheel activity and the hashtag CAP students. We want to get to know you all. This program is for you all, and it's nice of you all to find what's significant and common between each other. So how it's going to go. I have written down who all has checked in the meeting already. I'm going to call on you one-on-one, and you can have like a quick 15 seconds to answer the question on the screen. So at the end, after I've called all the students that have logged in already, if I haven't called on your name, we still want to get to know you. So please come off mute and say, Miss Denton or Miss Lauren or Lauren, I haven't spoke yet. So again, this is just a moment to think, to get to know you and think about how you think. So who's gonna share the screen? Sorry for the last minute changes.
No, that's okay. Sorry, Lauren, do you have the link to the wheel?
Yes, I can share that with you right
Can
now.
you drop that in the chat box and then I'll share my screen again?
Sure can. I'm gonna private message you so it doesn't spam the folder.
Okay.
Students, can I hear some voice recognition? Does everyone understand what's about to happen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Maya.
That was right. Oops, I'm back.
Thank whoever was. I saw Maya on the screen. All right, once you get the screen shared, what Ms. Katrina's gonna do when I call a student name, students, when I call your name, re-announce your name just in case I mispronounced it, your grade level and school, and then just answer the question.
All right, can you see it?
It says has started screen for me. Can anyone else see it? All right, there we go. It says,
Tell me what to do. I'm excited. What do I do?
it says one question, guys. But on my it shows multiple questions, so I don't know if it's showing
Hey,
up.
Sean.
What is the best piece
Oh
of
no, so you try clicking it one time. Let's see if it works. Nope, all of it isn't showing up. Can someone else try their screen one more time?
You can't see it.
So Lauren, if you'll put the link in the chat and then I'll try.
Okay.
Stop. It's showing on my side. It's spinning and everything.
Are you getting more than one question though, Dr. Fraser?
Let's see.
I think she got. So Lauren, there are multiple questions.
Mhm.
Okay.
There are about 15 questions, so I'm gonna just share it. Now I'm gonna spam the.
Can you see it?
Let's see. Okay, I have it with multiple questions. So I'll share my screen.
And thank you, chapter members and hashtag CAP members for being so patient with the technology. All right, so let's get this thing started. So I'm gonna call, it looks like Rhea is first. Rhea, reintroduce yourself, grade level, and high school, and then you'll answer the question. Rhea, if you could come off mute, and if you're having some mute issues.
Rhea, we can't hear you. Are you sure your audio is connected to your device?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Rhea Ford. I'm a 12th grader and I go to Stratford High School. My favorite book is Common Sense. I don't remember the author, but it's basically a book about common sense, but it goes into depth about it, and I like how it introduces different concepts.
Okay.
Thank you, Rhea. Next student we'll have is Ariana. If you come off mute, and we're going to spin the wheel for you and answer the next question.
Hi, my name is Ariana. I'm a 11th grader and I go to St. Ursula Academy in Toledo, Ohio. My favorite candy, probably Reese's.
Great. I put candy, meal, or drink because some students, they're like, I don't like sweets. I don't like this. So gave you plenty of options. Thank you for sharing. All right, James, come off mute. We're going to spin the wheel again for you.
I'm James. I go to Ravenwood High School. I'm a 12th grader. I think the best TV show I've watched would probably be like Rick and Morty.
Thank you for that, James. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I love the fact that I'm getting to know your personalities and your interests throughout this. And I'm sure the other chapter members are learning as well. Next student we'll have is Ashley, then Kendall, then Maya. So Ashley, if you can come off mute, we got another question for you. Is anyone see Ashley talking or trying to come off mute? Ashley, we can come back to you. I don't come back to you. I'm gonna come back to you at the end. Kendall, can we go ahead and spin the wheel for Kendall?
Kendall says she's at work and she can't unmute.
Okay, Kendall, we still appreciate you for being here. We're going to get to know you through other meetings. Now, I see a few other students that have joined. If I'm not mistaken, Regina. We're going to spin the wheel for you. I need your name, your school, and your grade level, and just answer the question. We're getting to know all you all.
Okay, my name is Regina. I go to Riverdale High School and I'm an 11th grader and my dream job is civil engineering.
Oh, wow.
Okay, thank you for sharing so much. I can't wait, and we can't wait to hear more about that civil engineering aspiration. We're gonna move on for time purposes. Amani.
Hey, so my name's Imani. I'm a 12th grade and I go to Antioch High School. Something that the group doesn't know about me, I would say is that I'm a Cancer.
Now, Amani, I'm not too familiar with the astrology signs. Can you tell me what your date of birth is? You don't have to include the year.
June 22nd.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Okay.
Welcome.
Any other students that can unmute? Can you just go ahead and unmute? And it like we said, if you want to answer in, let's see. We have any students that can unmute? If not, we're gonna go on to in the chat. So.
Can I go?
Well, yes, of course you go. Oh, Maya, I'm so sorry, girl. Come on.
Yeah, okay. My name is Maya Hawkins. I'm a junior. I attend Kilton Nashville Collegiate High School. What's the question?
It says, what is your most used emoji and why? Let's keep it appropriate.
Laughing emoji. That's it. I don't got no explanation. I just find everything funny.
Oh, the laughing emoji?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. It's nice to know that you have a sense of humor. Okay. We have 2 students who can answer. So let's wrap up with these next 2 students and move into the great information we have. So the first one, Trinaya.
Hi. My name's Trinaya Dalton. I'm 16 and I go to Riverdale High School. And my favorite holiday is Christmas.
Okay, great. What a wonderful time of the year, Trinaya. Thank you so much for that. And looks like we can do, okay. Elena. So hopefully I pronounced the name correctly. Charge it to my head, not my heart. Oh, can we do it one more time? Okay, so is there a last TV show that you enjoy or binged? And if you don't watch TV, podcast, movie, whatever you want to share with us.
The last show I watched was Clickbait on Netflix.
And we have Jalen in the group, in the chat.
I can actually go after Jalen real quick while there isn't anybody up here if you want me to.
Sorry for missing you, Kendall. I'm so sorry.
So my name is Jalen. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I go to Nashville Big Picture High School, and I am a senior. And then my question says, what is something the group doesn't know about you? I'm the only child.
Great context. Great context. Thank you for sharing that, Jalen. We don't know anything about you, so first thing we know is you're our only child. All right. Kendall, last but not least. And thank you all so much for coming off mute.
Okay. Hello, my name is Kendall Shannon. I go to East Nashville Magnet High School, and I am a senior. And my favorite subject right now is probably math, and my least favorite subject might be econ and government.
Okay. Okay. I hear some mathematician, maybe some STEM major. Econ and government might not be your favorite humanities elective in college. So great. Last call. Any other students that we haven't learned anything about today?
Me.
Who is me?
Faith.
Faith. Oh, I'm so sorry, Faith. Let's spin the wheel.
I'm not Faith. Yeah, Faith. Next year.
My name is Faith Menard. I'm a senior at Antioch High School. The question is still rolling. Which season of the year is your favorite and why? Probably summer because I don't like being in the cold.
Thank you for sharing that, Faith. So do we want to get rolling into the information and continue? Yes. Okay. Thank you all so much for participating. We learned so much about you, and don't hesitate to get to know us as well throughout the program.
All right, that was so awesome. It's amazing to get to know everybody and where you guys are. So give me just a second. I will reshare my screen. All right, Ms. Denton, thank you so much. That was really awesome. I found out a lot about some of the members, so it's good to know you guys have a lot going on. I'm interested to know a little bit more. So with that being said, we're going to start with our college search with Dr. Moore, beginning with the end in mind. Dr. Moore, you ready?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, students. And so this morning, we're going to start with the letter S that is a part of STEP as it pertains to the college admissions process. And so hopefully you'll be able to take some good nuggets away from this as it pertains to your college search. That's what we're going to talk about this morning. So first is a location. You have to be mindful of, do you want to stay close to home or do you want to move out, live in another state or country? Do you want to live on campus or stay at home and attend classes? So that's one thing you got to be mindful of as you within your college search. Another thing that you need to be mindful of is the size. Would you prefer a large campus over a smaller campus? You need to know what the student to teacher ratio is, because that's a major factor when it comes to your learning as well. And how many roommates might one have during your freshman year if you're going to stay in the dorm? Okay, and throughout this, if you all have any comments or questions or anything, please do share in the chat box. So here we're looking at within our college search, we want to be mindful of, do we want to attend a HBCU, which is your historical Black college or university, or do you want to attend a private or public white institute? So those are the two of the things that you need to be aware of as well. Which route would you rather take? And then while searching within those institutions, what is the retention and graduation rate? That's important, because even once you graduate, you want to know, do they have a high graduation rate? Or are they able to retain their students for that next year? Because we know research shows that oftentimes after the freshman year, students don't return that second semester. Does the university college offer career service opportunities? You know, will you be able to do any type of, have a mentor? We want you to have a mentor while on campus, as well as internship, or just getting to know other industries, or, you know, people within that community around you in that search that you're looking for within that institution. How many students obtain a job after undergraduate completion? That's important as well. So with your search as well, you need to be mindful of your major. Now, I heard, I'm not sure, but one of the students stated that they wanted to be a civil engineer. Is that correct? One student enjoyed math. Let's see, I was trying to get it down, but those are the things that you need to be mindful of. You know, your major, what is your interest? What do you enjoy doing? You know, you need to know that going in, or even just start to think about it. That's where we are. The first step is to, in this search, just start to think about it. What does a college or university have to offer? You know, within your major, what is it that they're offering you? Is the department accredited? That's important as well, because oftentimes, or in you know, you've heard, I'm sure you've heard before, how when it comes to your we'll say your nursing department maybe, or your dental department, you know, those departments, they need to be accredited. Even within the psychology department, we have to be accredited. So you want to make sure that your department is accredited. And then when you go to look for those jobs, that is highly favored when that department that you're coming from, that institute that you're coming from, is an accredited department. We want to make sure that you review the course offerings for your major. You know, just look over them, you know, often at the beginning of each semester, you know, when you go into the that institution, that professor within those classes, they will provide you with a syllabus. So you need to look over that, as well as your program of study. You have a guidance advisor, I'm sorry, you will have an advisor that will provide you with your program of study going in. And do the course offerings sound interesting to you? After you have reviewed and looked at that program of study, is that an interest to you? But that's not to say that you won't change your major, you know, because we all have somewhere along the line when we went to school, the ladies that are here on the call, I'm sure some of us have changed our major midstream, but just be mindful of it. But I will put this out there as well. So when you look into change your major, if that is ever the case, just be mindful of those courses that you still have to take versus those that you have already taken. Okay. Then with testing, and then Dr. Days will go over this testing further when she does her presentation. But with the testing, during admission time, and and in your search of colleges, universities, whether public or private or HBCU or a white institution, you need to know which tests are required. Is it the ACT, the American College Test, the SAT, the Scholastic Aptitude Test? And is there a required score for admissions? So, and I know along when it came to COVID, and like I said, Dr. Days, she would get into this more, but you know, I think during COVID time, they were wavering, they waived, we'll say, waived that ACT and ACT score. But again, Dr. Days, she'll get into that more. And then too, when you're looking within your search for colleges, we want to know the cost. Is it affordable to attend? You know, can I attend on a full ride scholarship? Will I receive an academic scholarship? And are there any grants available to me for this college or institution? Oftentimes here, when it comes to the cost, they will provide academic scholarships, you know, for your grades, your GPAs and things of that nature. So with that, be mindful, juniors, as well as your seniors, the seniors, you know, maintain that GPA. Be mindful of your GPA when you're in the process of college search, especially your juniors right now, because you still have time to get your GPA up if it's not where you would like it to be, or it's not where the school of your choice is, you know, whether it's saying that you need it higher. So just be mindful of your GPA in that area, as well as the cost. That's important. Okay. And then the social fit. Oftentimes, you know, you want to, as research shows, that when you're seeking out colleges and universities, you want to have a social fit. Oftentimes when students attend or enroll into their college of choice, it's stated that when you have that fit, meaning you're engaged, you're doing something that you enjoy doing, you're more apt to stay that next school year, that next semester, you know, so we want you to get involved. Is the college or university diverse? What type of social events does the university or college host? You know, do they have a Greek organization? Do they have SGAs? Do they have, and that's your student government associations, do they have a football team or band, you know, things that you may enjoy? And then I'm sure there's other things that you have tapped into or that you are mindful of that you may want to do. Cheerleading, I believe there's a young lady on here now that is at cheerleading practice. So that's one thing you want to be mindful of moving forward if that's a social fit for you. Of course, many of the universities and colleges have homecoming, talent search, or cultural events. What clubs are available to consider joining? Is there an opportunity for community service? I know oftentimes when it comes to the community service, some of the professors you have assignments. You have assignments to where you have to go out in the community and obtain information as it pertains to that assignment. And I found that to be true when it comes to your African-American studies or the history of the university, things of that nature. What recreational opportunities are available? Do they have a pool? Do they have track and field? Is there a basketball court? And that's just for your entertainment. You know, we want to get out. We want to get outside the door. We want to interact with our peers. We want to learn each other and be social. And so that's another nugget that you need to be mindful of when you are searching your institution, college or university. Okay, and two, with that being said, this here is just another piece that, you know, you may be as a resource, as a provided resource. This is a book that I have written a while back. It says it's called Making the Jump, How to Successfully Transition from High School to College. So this book, this resource will help you along your way and in your journey to to find your college of your choice. You have any questions or comments, anything you all would like to say? No questions? All right then. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Boer. That was great.
All right, thank you.
So next we have a discussion about the college testing. What are your testing options with Dr. Randy Days?
All right, good morning, everyone. So you can advance to the next slide. So with college entrance, what assessment should you take? And so we're just going to take some time today to review SAT versus the ACT and just some foundational information to help you make your selection and make an informed decision on which text you would like to take. Did you know that colleges have no preference whether you take the ACT or the SAT, but tests are used to grant scholarships and merit-based scholarships at that. So it is a extra measure to show a university who you are. So we talked about applications, or had a preliminary at the kickoff where we talked about the application process. And when a school is looking at you, they're looking at your GPA, they're looking at your essays. But the test, the college entry test, is an additional layer to show a school your academic ability. So ACT. The ACT is made up of 5 sections: English, math, reading, science, and writing. The writing is optional. However, I always encourage my students to do the writing portion because usually it gives you a few extra points towards your final score. The total time with the writing is 3 hours and 35 minutes. Can we go back one? Yeah. And 215 questions. Every section is timed. So roughly about a minute or so per section, really 30 seconds if we're thinking about finishing the test in the allotted time frame. In terms of the SAT, there are also 5 sections, and with the essay included is 3 hours and 50 minutes for a total of 154 questions. And just like with the ACT, the SAT, the writing portion is optional as well. The SAT, the questions are evidence-based and context-based for focus on real-world situations and multi-step problem solving. There are no penalty for wrong answers, and questions increase with difficulty. So as you move through the test, the questions get harder. You get to choose which sets of scores to send to colleges. So I always say for my students, if you're not sure how you're going to do, or if you're taking it for the first time, I always opt to send the scores after testing, after you receive your scores back. This is just a way for you to make sure you want to share. If it's a time that you didn't do well, it was a bad day, then you have a chance to decide what you want to do, versus when you register, if you preset the schools and it's not the best score, they have that as a depiction of you. And so just kind of think about that if you want to pre-select schools, or if that's something that you would want to do after you take the test. The SAT is also most commonly used in the North, or some of your more private schools like Harvard or Stanford and things of that sort kind of lean more towards the SAT. But both tests are acceptable at any institution. The ACT is straightforward. The questions may be long, but are usually less difficult to decipher. There's no penalty, again, for wrong answers, so it's always good to just make your best educated guess. The difficulty level of the questions is random. So unlike the SAT, where it gets harder as you go through the test, it just kind of randomizes from difficulty. I also suggest for you to choose your sets of scores when you send it after you receive your scores. But again, that is your preference. Another thing with ACT is that it's super scores. So as I mentioned, the 5 sections that are on each test before, they are all given an average score, okay? And so out of those, that average score of your correct answers, they're combined for a composite. And so when you take the test more than once, the ACT does something called super score, where they take your highest score from each test and then make you a new composite. So that's also an option with ACT. The ACT is more favorable in the South. You'll see it, not saying that it's favorable, because as I mentioned before, they're acceptable at any institution. Both tests are universal, but they're most commonly accepted, or most schools in the South prepare you for ACT. I know many of you, if you're in your junior year, you're going to take the ACT in the spring already for free. And if you are a senior, you'll take a retake in the fall. And so in the South, you'll see ACT prep more commonly. If you're in the private school, you may see more SAT prep. And so it's just, it's all based on whatever the school's preference, but they all kind of prepare you for college nonetheless. We can advance, okay. So SAT has the average scoring is based off 2 sections. So even though it's 5 parts, they're divided into math and then evidence-based reading. Each section is ranged from 200 to 800 in score. And then those 2 scores are then averaged to get you a composite between 400 and 1600. The ACT has a score of 1 to 36 on each subpart, and each one of those subparts are then averaged for a total score of 1 through 36, 36 being the absolute highest. I want to make mention with score. Usually when you take the test more than once, you see your score increase about 2 to 3 points. So we always encourage you to take take it once, see how you do, take it again, and then usually you'll see some increase with each test in your score. What are some common mistakes? Is there a question? Okay, if you have a question, you can do the reaction, raise the hand feature, or drop it in the chat, or just unmute yourself. That's fine as well. All right, no problem, Maya. What are some common mistakes? Common mistakes on the ACT include answering questions too quickly. Yes, it is timed. As I mentioned, you have about 30 seconds or so for each question, but you still want to pace yourself and do your best to make the most educated guess or the most educated answer choice. Just know that, pacing and how you're able to do your best with this is just to take it. The more you take it, the more you practice, the more practice tests you do, the more you train yourself to be able to prepare for the ACT or the SAT. Careless answers and pacing are also common mistakes. So as I said, to increase that pacing is to practice. Doing work in your head instead of working it out on your scratch paper or in your book is also common mistakes. Don't try to work it out. I know for SAT, they do not allow you to use calculators, but you can work those, but they do provide formulas on the math section and you can work it out. On the other hand, ACT allows you to use calculators, but they don't provide you with the formulas. So either way it goes, guys, take the time to work through the problems and don't try to do it in your head. Misreading the problem. So we get to going so fast and we don't take our time to understand the question in its entirety. Trouble understanding directions. So not being familiar with the vocabulary and testing terms. And so it's important if your school offers an ACT prep class or SAT prep class, or if you have the means to purchase practice books or some of these free websites I'm going to share with you later, take the time to do that so you can get familiar with the vocabulary. Like if it asks you to delineate between this or that, it's asking you to outline.
Thank you all for being aware of what's going on around you.
And so
when do my bases go?
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to come off mute.
So being prepared and being familiar with testing vocabulary helps to understand directions as well. And then being unfamiliar with the test format is a common error. Don't let your first time taking SAT or ACT be the time that you're getting scored. So take those practice tests, take the opportunities to focus when you're doing practice in schools, getting practice material so that you are familiar with the testing format, the timing, and the expectations and pacing on the SAT or ACT. And these are just some sample schools. We took some from your applications. You kind of shared some of the schools you were interested in. And so this will show you where your scores can take you. And so Harvard and Vanderbilt, those are some of your most private liberal colleges, carry a lot of prestige. The SAT that they're looking for is a 1550. And as I mentioned to you earlier, the highest you can get is 1600. So they're looking for a pretty close to perfect score. ACT, 34 at those particular schools. Howard University in Washington, DC, 1200 on the ACT and 25 on the SAT and 25 on the ACT. Tuskegee, some of you guys wanted to go to Tuskegee, you mentioned. They want a 1090 on the SAT with a 21 on the ACT. And you guys can see this: Stanford, LSU, Tennessee State. Tennessee State, if we're looking at state requirements, so even if you're thinking of MTSU or UTK, most of your state schools are going to be around the same. So in terms of SAT or ACT entry, and these are the minimum scores, guys. These aren't scores to get merit-based scholarships or anything along those lines, but these are just the entry level criteria. Now, one thing I wanted to mention that Dr. Moore just mentioned previously is that because of the pandemic, a lot of schools are doing test optional, right? And so if you are someone who say, hey, I got a really strong ACT or SAT score, but my GPA is average, then you may want to do the test. You may want to make sure you share your scores so that you can give them a more favorable application. It balances you out. But if you're someone like, oh, I really bombed the ACT, but I got a 4.0, then you have a chance to do test optional. So for seniors, make sure when you're doing your college searches, you look to see if it's test optional, because that may be in your favor. Juniors, some schools have extended the test optional for 2 to 3 years. So even as you start your search, look into those, because that's going to be beneficial for you, either to help your application to be stronger or to help you, opt out if you don't want to share that score. So important things to remember, guys. These are the upcoming tests. As I told you, in the state of Tennessee, as a junior, you get your first ACT paid for in its entirety. So that will be in spring, and then you get a second test in the fall. That's senior retake. That's also free to you. There are also test waivers for both ACT and SAT, if that's something that you're interested in. If you qualify for free or reduced lunch or any of those things, you can go see your school counselor and they can help you to get a test waiver for either one of these tests. You can register or get testing information at ACT.org. Or if you want SAT, you can do college readiness at collegeboard.org. Either one will give you additional testing practices, free, and some that you can pay for. And then also where they will house the upcoming dates for testing and costs and things of that sort. For fall of 2021, if you are a senior, I hope that you would be ready and registered for that October 2nd. October 23rd test date. Today is the last day to register. That would be ideal for our seniors because that gives you time to get those scores back and applied before the end of the semester. November and December also, well, November doesn't have a test date this year, but December is December 11th. And with the December 4 registration for, that's for SAT. Spring, I'm sorry, guys, I'm looking at registration versus actual score, the columns, so I do apologize. But SAT is coming up on October 2nd, which is today. And then ACT is the 23rd. And so these are just all the dates for the remainder of the year, the academic year. So when you're creating your prep plan, just your first step is to take the practice test. Choose which test that you want to take, whether that's ACT or SAT. Kind of think about, which one you think you'll be strongest in. We know SAT is just, math and reading and writing, where ACT is going to have, reading, you have some science, math, and so it's a more varied subject matter. So think about which one you want to do and then practice. Step 2 is to prep yourself with buying a book, self-prep online, taking a class, or working with a tutor. Step 3 is take your first test. So register, apply on one of those websites that we mentioned on the previous slide, and get your official first test. Once you get those official scores, determine whether you want to include them in your application or not. If you decide not to preset your schools, then your counselors can send your ACT or SAT scores with your transcript, and they will still serve as official. Step 4 is to prep your second test. And so if you bombed ACT and you're like, you know what, I want to give SAT a chance, then you start over and you readjust your plan. If you did, fairly good, you enjoy ACT, you did a score, maybe 22 or so, and you're like, hey, I want to try again and try to reach for that 25, readjust your plan, practice some more, get more acclimated with the test, and take it again. And then once you determine which test you want to take second time, then you move forward and do the process over. So for more information and practice tests, you can go to collegeboard.com. Khan Academy has practice SAT tests. You can also do captest.com for free ACT tests. ACT study prep guide. Khan Academy also have ACT practice as well. And just College Readiness and College Board, that website. So the actual websites for ACT and College Board for SAT can lead you to lots of resources for both for practice.
So, go back. So, Dr. Days, did you have any questions that you wanted to? Anything that you wanted to add before I go to the next section?
Not have anything I wanted to add. Someone just asked a question, or did I? I have a few questions, I think, in the chat.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, that was Christy. She was just talking to the kids. I don't know if I missed this, but do we have to take both of the tests or just one of them? You only, you can choose. You do not have to take both. Colleges accept both tests, but you just figure out which one you think you'll be the strongest in. If you don't do as well on one and you want to see how well you can do on another, then you can do that. But you only need one or the other to apply. You do not need both.
Okay. So
Dr. Days, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a lag time between the tests if they wanted to do one? If they did one and then they didn't do as well, is there a time, like a 30-day frame or something like that, to where they have to wait until to take the second test?
There is not a required lag time, but say for instance, if I have a student or something, and when they come to see me, I ask a few guiding questions. So if they you know, the issue was they didn't finish, I may encourage them to take it again and try to pace them, you know, after practicing and then pacing themselves, increasing that. Or if it's someone who did complete it and their score was still not, you know, ideal, then I would probably suggest, if they have the time, because if it's a junior, then I would suggest, let's get some more classes under your belt, right? Because when you look at the testing breakdown, you see that they need, you know, geometry, or you might have some trig or things of that sort. So we know they probably need to get through algebra 2 before taking it. If they hadn't had biology, I may suggest, let's wait till we get past biology to do it. So for my juniors, it may be a good idea for them to meet with the counselor, look at their course progressions, and then determine a good time, you know, to retake. But there is not like a window of time that ACT or SAT will shut you out. Now, we do know research shows that you have increased 2 to 3 points with each test, but there's also a cutoff for that where kids kind of get into testing fatigue and you can see it go down. And so, you know, I think 3 to 4 times on any test is plenty.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Days, for that information. Students, we do have a moment at the end. If you have some additional questions that you want us to answer, we'll answer those during that moment. So one quick reminder, all virtual meetings have been changed to Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. After we did the survey from the last or the kickoff session, there were, I think, 17 out of 19 of you who responded to the survey that said that Sunday afternoons would be a better, one of your best days for you. So we've changed the dates. You will receive this in an email and so the meetings moving forward would be Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Next steps and reminders. A part of the program is coming up with a checklist of what you're going to be doing over the next several months. So at the end of each session, we're going to share with you what your checklist is, depending on what your level is, whether it's junior or senior. So juniors, for your next session, what we want you to do is to compile a list of your potential schools. We also want you to start studying for the ACT and take a practice test, as Dr. Days mentioned earlier. Also, take any type of practice test that you see that's available online. I know personally, I have 2 daughters that graduated high school, and we spent a lot of time taking the practice ACT test. And so you can get an opportunity to see how well you'll do on the real test. So we want you to start doing that this month, in the month of October or November. Also attend college fairs and speak to reps that attend your high school. Most of you attended our HBCU week college fair, and we want to make sure that you continue to research and search out those opportunities so that you can see which college will be the best fit for you, as Dr. Moore mentioned. For seniors, since you're in the thick of it, our checklist for you is to edit your college essays and applications. We do know that they have the Common App, and so they do give you those open-ended questions that you have to answer. And so you may not necessarily have to have a complete college essay, but we do know that they have all of those questions on there for you to answer before you submit. So start editing some of those. I actually edited a student that's in the program, his essay last week or week before last. And so if there are some things that you need to have edited or some things that you want us to look at, please share that information with your mentor or reach out to one of us, and we'll make sure that we support you as much as you can in submitting your college essays or college responses. Also begin to ask teachers and school counselors for recommendation letters. A lot of the scholarship websites that you'll see today will be asking for recommendation letters. Most of the schools don't necessarily ask for it, but a lot of the scholarships do. So begin to just ask for recommendation letters. Also begin the FAFSA application process. And so at the end, I've also put some links that are there. FAFSA has opened, it's October the 1st, so it's open. So the application, it wasn't open 2 days ago because I checked, they were doing something with the website, but for right now, it is open. And so we're asking that you go ahead and start getting that information with your parents and start filling it out. And then attend local FAFSA day events. If there are events that are where they have workshops that help you on FAFSA. Attend those workshops and see if that can support you as you go through the process. Also, now this is the big challenge for you seniors. And this is a push, and this is what we want to push you to. As a parent of a child that went to school with a full ride and a parent of a child that went to school with no money that I had to pay, scholarships are your bank. That's where you need to start really pushing yourself. Even if it's $1,000 scholarship, apply for it. If it's a local scholarship at the church, do it, because a lot of that money will go to you directly, and you may need that for books and just starting college. So your challenge for, our challenge for you are on your checklist is to apply for at least 5 scholarships. And also send SAT or ACT scores and transcripts to the school that you're interested in. So for you seniors, if you have not actually taken the ACT, SAT, as Dr. Days mentioned before, the dates are coming up. Go ahead and just register for the ACT and SAT. For our school, for Antioch, juniors and seniors are taking the ACT, SAT this Tuesday. So we have a whole day of that coming up. So I'm hoping that some of you, that is happening at the other schools, I'm not quite sure, but go ahead and register for that and start sending your transcripts and scores if it's a school that you're really interested in.
Yeah, I think that the state is, the senior retake is this week or within this month for most schools.
Okay. So those of you who were juniors last year, this should be your retake day on Tuesday. So next steps as well, seniors research and apply for scholarships. So when you come back at the next session, we want to have some discussions about some of the research that you've done and some of the scholarships you've applied for at your preferred school. And so when we say at your preferred school, your first line of defense. So I had a student yesterday told me he finally decided to go to college. And I was like, yes, because he's a smart kid. And he was like, I've decided. He told me he wasn't going to college, but he finally decided to go. And the first question he asked me was, how do I apply for scholarships? Where do I get money from to be able to go? And so your first line of defense when you're looking for this is to apply at the school that you're attending. That's where you'll get the bulk of your money. Now, all the other minor scholarships and all the things that you're interested in, I know you guys said that's what you were interested in knowing more about, and we'll discuss that more in the next session. But your part of your checklist, seniors, we expect when you come back, and we really want you to push to apply for those scholarships and complete your FAFSA with your parents. The quicker you complete it, the more you'll know what your estimated family contribution will be. Juniors, there is a practice FAFSA forecaster. I actually use this with my students. I actually found this online last year, didn't even know it existed. And so it's called a FAFSA forecaster. And what it does is it gives you an opportunity to see how much estimated family contribution your family will have in order for you to receive financial aid. So it'll tell you what your award would be. Will you get grants? Will you get scholarships? Or is it best for you to get student loans? It'll tell you basically what the seniors will find out from the actual FAFSA. So it's called a FAFSA forecaster. And then also juniors research scholarships. So one of the things I want juniors to really think about is there are some scholarships that you can get for your senior year, but you have to know what the requirements are your junior year, which I thought was pretty interesting. Everybody starts looking their senior year, but if you don't know what their requirements are, you can't prep yourself to be able to have the requirements for that senior year. So juniors, that's what we want you to do, or start looking, apply, complete your practice FAFSA forecaster, and then research scholarships on the websites on the school list. So here are some helpful links. So one of the things that we, instead of just saying, guys, we want y'all to research, here's some links that we put together for you to go through and look. You'll receive this in an email. So the FAFSA tells how much financial aid you will receive. And of course, the application is now open. The FAFSA forecaster will tell the juniors how much money you'll receive, and it's open. You just click on that link. And then the net price calculator. Now, this is going to be very helpful to you. In the net price calculator, the U.S. Department of Education has created this website where you can go on there and type in whatever school you're going to, and it'll tell you based on the little information, it's like 5 questions. Based on that information, how much financial aid you could potentially receive, your family, based on their income. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. So they just put together something for you to kind of get on there and see, okay, based on my family information, how much financial aid can I receive to go to this specific school? So if it's TSU, if it's LSU, if it's Harvard, if it's Vanderbilt, you'll be able to type that in and see the cost of that school and how much you'll receive. And then the scholarship search. So as I said before, with scholarships, your first line of defense is that school. They will give you the bulk of your money. However, I know a student who received a full ride to TSU. And because he had so many scholarships, because he was a foster student, he had like $19,000 left to be able to use however he needed to use. Now, he bought him a car for one, because he wanted a new car to go into college. So all of these other scholarships, you may be able to use that toward tuition, depending on what the specifics of that scholarship. But these are some helpful links where you can type in generic information about you. For example, I'm 4'11", almost 5 feet. And being 5 feet, there are some scholarships for short people. There are some scholarships for right-handed and left-handed people. There are some scholarships, whatever your background is, it may be something you're interested in. If you're interested in art, apply for scholarships that you're interested in art. But those are those first 3 links: the College Board, Big Future Scholarship Search, scholarships.com, and Scholarship 360. Those are places that you can go and really share individual information, and they will give you a list of scholarships. But don't try to go, I'm going to say, I want to push you to try to apply for some of the smaller ones, because those are the ones that are more likely most students receive. Some of the bigger ones, it's a bigger pot, you know, it's higher. Not saying that you can't apply for those, but push yourself to look together, to piece together thousands of dollars just by doing that, because the schools do have those merit scholarships, but this is like money in your pocket, which can help go towards school. That last link that has 250 old scholarship documents, I received this, and I'll go through and update it. I actually went through the list. These are scholarships that students, scholarships that my daughter actually used or received from one of the MNPS schools. I think it's Hume Fall. And they had a list of all these different scholarships that you can receive. And on those scholarships, it tells you what the requirements are and the deadlines. Now, let me say this about the old scholarships. What you're expected to do on that is just copy what it is and put it in your Google search. And then that scholarship, if it's still offered in Tennessee, which most of this was a lot of Tennessee scholarships, which is the reason why I wanted to include it. If it's a Tennessee scholarship and a local scholarship, you have a bigger chance of receiving that. So just use this as a way to kind of help you search for scholarships that are local. Okay. And if they don't still do that scholarship, it won't come up, the site won't even pull up. And then the last and final thing is a college scorecard. I like looking at my alma mater. I don't know if y'all can see Jackson State at the end behind me. But when you pull up this college scorecard, the Department of Education has given each school, it tells you the demographics, it tells you the score, it tells you how many students, it tells you everything you want to know about that school in just a click, quick search. It tells you all of it, and it tells you how much it costs. The whole thing, everything you want to know about that school or some of the schools that are on your list, when you type that in, it will share all of that information with you. So here are the helpful links. They're going to come to you in an email. And so you can go through and actually figure out and prepare for our next session. So now almost our last and final thing on the list is, what questions do you still have from today's session? I know it's 11:03. What questions do you still have from today's session?
Dr. Frazier, we have some questions in the chat.
Okay.
Currently.
Go ahead.
You want to start with those?
Sorry, Ms. Fentress.
Go ahead.
Is she
okay?
Go ahead.
Yes, there are a few questions in the chat already. Hello, CAP students. My name is Shamika Fentress. And before we end the session, we wanted to take the time to give you the opportunity to ask further questions, or if you have an aha moment about something that was discussed today, or if you're needing something further from us, okay? So I will address the questions that are in the chat, and the last thing we'll do is go to Jamboard, which will be a link that we will all click on in just a second. So Kendall would like to know, are there any scholarships we can apply for from the AKA organization? And yes, Kendall, there is a scholarship that you can apply for. And generally, the application is posted on our website. You can go to Alpha Delta Omega website, and the application is always posted there. And we always post information about our scholarship on our social media sites as well.
Ms. Fentress, can I interject?
Yes,
On
please.
additional opportunities? There are also scholarships that are available on an international level, and that is through our Education Advancement Fund. And that email address is akaeaf.org. And they offer scholarships in May and in September. Some of the scholarships are from various chapters. Some are from our international office. And so that is another resource for something on an international level. And I'll put in the chat our website. We do have a scholarship, as Ms. Fentress has spoken, but I'll just make sure that you have those addresses.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Another question is coming from Kendall. She wants to know, can she get help composing a generic essay for college applications?
Of course. Yeah. Just tell her to email your mentor. And then what we'll do is we'll pick it up from there, because we may have some other committee members who are on here who could actually really look at that and help support you on that. So email it to your mentor. And if not, Ms. Williams, she's been the point of contact. You can email it to her, and then we'll work with you from there.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Frazier. All right, CAP students, if you could go ahead and click on the link that's in the chat. Chat is going to take you to another site that's called Jamboard. And once you get on the site, please click on the first page. All right, so the question for today is, what's the difference between majors and minors? Can you post the response on the Jamboard? To do that, you're gonna go to the left-hand corner. On the left-hand side, there are different images. You wanna click on the sticky tab to respond to the questions.
Taking a minute to load.
And once you get on, you don't have to wait for me. Just go ahead and post your response.
Okay. What do you
Okay.
want? Yeah. So we're on, Ms. Fentress, for the sake of time, we're gonna do this. Can we do this last question? The one, what questions do they still have from today's session? And then
Absolutely.
we can pick back up with them at the next session once they post them.
Yes, that would be fine. And also, if you don't have a question, at least type something that you got out of today's session, or if you feel like you're needing more information about college selections or the college testing information, post it on here so everybody can see, you know, what you're wondering about.
So Ms. Fentress?
Yes, am I not seeing something?
No. I just want to answer that question as it pertains to the presentation today. One of the students asked, what's the difference between a major and a minor? And I think that's a good question for this time. Your major is that program of study that you're going to focus on more so for a career choice. And then your minor is a minor is something that's secondary, and it doesn't require a lot of courses for that minor. And then they may have matriculated them together, a major and a minor. So your major, for example, a major may be nursing, and your minor may be psychology. They go hand in hand. However, your major is what you're going to have more focus on, and then your minor is going to support your major.
Okay,
Thank you, Ms.
Dr. Moore.
Ventures.
Absolutely. All right, there's another question. Well, a statement. I learned a lot about the ACT and SAT. I learned that you only need to do one of them. Yes, that's a great takeaway. I hope that that kind of puts some things to bed in your mind about making a decision about which test you might want to take. Is there any way you can be guaranteed a specific amount of money? Can one of our committee members answer that?
I say financial aid is your way to get those guaranteed piles of money based on need or based on merit. We have government-backed things like Pell Grants that are also, you know, they're guaranteed as long as you do the application, you know, if you demonstrate the need. Loans, sub and unsub, as I saw someone mention already. So basically, when you do financial aid, there'll be state level funding, Tennessee Promise, TSAC, SEOG, all those things that will be granted to you through the university based on your expected family contribution, financials that your parents demonstrate, and those things. So it's not, I guess to say, there's not a guaranteed specific amount, but if you have, there are a lot of things that the state and government offer if you, based on your family's income status.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Days. All right, so I'm seeing some cute emojis. I saw a heart pop up and a smiley face, so thank you for that. We have another question. What if you have a learning disability? That's a great question. When you say, what if you have a learning disability, are you referencing taking a particular test? Are you referencing about applying for college and how that applies to having a disability? Can you type it on the board a little bit more, or give us a little bit of information so we can answer that question a little bit better?
If they want to be anonymous, I don't mind. Look, I'm jumping in everything. I don't mind just talking just in general. But in terms of testing, if you want to if you get, I put that in the chat because it came to mind. If you get accommodations and you receive accommodations through IEP or 504, like extended time, or a reader, a writer, a scribe, any of those things that you get in school, you can get on the test. And so just see your school counselor within your building, and they can assist you in that. So basically, it's just a matter of uploading those documents and allowing ACT and SAT to approve it. When I was in a specialized school, I would have students who did one test per day. I had students who had, you know, instead of 35 minutes, they had 3 times that amount of time for a particular subject. And so it's just based on the need. So definitely see your counselor for that. In terms of college acceptance, you still have the same entry requirements for college acceptance, but once you are admitted, then we can work with you to get accommodations within your college setting. So it's usually like an accommodations office, a student success center. They're all named different things at every university. But what is it, Christy and Dr. Moore? It's a TRC, some of those things. So still, again, go to your counselor and they can help you with all that. But yes, long story short, there are accommodations and things that you can get for testing and admissions in college, for college.
Yeah. And to add to Dr. Days, what she was saying, if you're talking about having a disability once you're accepted into college, you can find like your disability office, things of that nature, and they can work with you so that you can receive some of the same accommodations that you may be having when you were in high school. So when you're searching for schools, it's important to make sure that that school has a good disability office, because sometimes that makes the difference in where you go.
Yeah, so
And
that's good. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was like,
yes,
that's a good
no,
point in search because some schools
Mhm.
I
right.
had at that same school, I had a student who went to a small university here in Nashville and they didn't have a disability office. So it was hard, but we were able to still get those same accommodations. So definitely in your search, if that's something that you're interested in, find out who's responsible for that. And you know, every school will work with you, but just some have more experience than others in the area.
Also, Dr. Days and Ms. Williams, to add to that, your disability office, they will require that you bring your IEP. You need to provide them with an IEP that states that disability on there as well.
All right, thank you
There's
all.
scholarships for that too.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Yes,
No,
there
go ahead.
is.
This is good. This is good.
There's
Come
scholarships
on.
for those things too.
Right.
Like what Dr. Frazier said, you can do, you know, ADHD. If you're a person who have, you know, limited vision, whatever, there's scholarships for everything, guys.
Yes,
Everything.
yes.
And to add on to the scholarships, y'all know FAFSA opened up yesterday. So go complete the FAFSA because that free money goes quickly. So the sooner you get that completed, the more likely you are to get some of that free money. I'm not talking about scholarships, but I'm talking about like Pell Grant money and things of that nature and work study.
Yes.
All right, thank you all. So students, if you have no further questions, and I do want to highlight that someone had mentioned that all of their questions got answered, and that's what these sessions are for. We want to be able to answer your questions. And please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out to someone that's on the committee outside of the session, just to provide assistance, or if you need help with something in particular about what we're discussing in the sessions. We truly do want to help you, okay? So I would just say in closing, your key takeaways is to make sure you go ahead and apply for FAFSA, like they spoke about today, and to go ahead and apply for your testing. If you're a senior, I saw October 2nd up on the screen. So key takeaways. I have enjoyed you guys today, and thank you for engaging with me.
Thank you so much, Ms.
Thank
Fingers.
you.
Just a minute. Switch my screen.
Hey, Dr. Frazier, is it my turn yet? Is it
Yes.
my go?
They're reminders, and then it is your turn.
Okay, I thought I heard you call my name.
Almost, like 2 seconds. I'm gonna tell them to turn in their application. So give me, do you guys, am I on the announcements page? Can y'all see that?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so completion of forms due today, which is your hashtag CAP application. And I think everybody that's on the call has already completed that. You have the parental consent form that needs to be completed, and then the student code of conduct and responsibility contract. Our next session is Sunday, November the 7th at 3 p.m. So we're excited to see you at the next session. We will be discussing financial aid as well. And I know some of you mentioned, is the expectation for seniors to apply for scholarships? Yes. You find scholarships that you're interested in applying for, apply for those, because we want to see you get more money than you can ever imagine for your first year of school. So with that being said, closing remarks by our Vice President, Janine Davis.
Thank you, Dr. Frazier. Okay, well, students, you all have had a very jam-packed day today. So hopefully you all have learned some really great information from all of our speakers. And I see you had some great questions on the Jamboard. And so the committee will be hard at work to bring some answers and provide some content. So I just want to do a check-in with you all. How is everybody feeling? How, after you receive that information, if you want to put an emoji in the chat or just express an adjective about how you felt about the the program today, please share that with us now. I see Kendall said great. Regina said thank you. Imani says she feels great. Anybody else? Okay, well, again, thank you all for attending our session. We look forward to seeing you in November and presenting some additional information to you and having a new group of speakers as well. If you have not touched base with your mentor, please reach out to your mentors. It is a two-way street with communication. So if you receive a call or an email or a text from your mentor, please just let them know that you want to connect with them and reach out. If you haven't heard from your mentor, feel free to reach out to them as well, because we want to continue the communication with you and the engagement with you to ask questions that you may have one-on-one to just help you be successful through this process and help you to be successful in selecting and being admitted into the college of choice. Again, thank you all for coming. Have a great Saturday.
Bye. See y'all next time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, James.
I think we have one more student on source. Look at Sharon. Okay. Looks like everybody is off. Good job, ladies.
All right, excellent.
It is
November is
finished.
over. October.
It was good. So it looks like you guys finished up. We wrapped up at about 11:20. So and I think all of it was some great content. So I do think just let's keep moving until we get it all done, even if it takes us over the hour time that we have. But it was good. What do y'all think?
I think it was great. All the information, the questions, the students interacting.
And there was a lot of students on today too.
Yes.
That's what I was
I have
about to
listed
ask.
15.
That's good.
I have 15 listed.
Awesome.
That's good. I feel like I think Sunday may work better because these kids, they're working, they're in cheer camp, they have a lot going on. So hopefully Sunday we'll see a little bit more, we'll see hopefully all of the students at some point.
Do you think 3 would be too early with like church or pushing it or what?
I can only speak for me. I know I'm done from church by 3 o'clock. I'm still virtual. So I'm usually done by about 1:30 from church. So I think 3 o'clock is okay. I know some other events that happen throughout the sorority on Sundays and even in the chapter, 3 o'clock seems to be a safe time for everybody to get settled. And it's right before, it's before dinner too. So it's between church and before you have to transition to dinner. What do you all think? Will that work for the group? I know a lot of y'all are still on mute. I know y'all trying to respond.
Me personally, I particularly like the Saturday mornings.
Okay.
Just because the 3 o'clock time frame on Sundays, it cuts into half of your Sunday. But that's just me.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay. And I think you all, the survey, where we came up with that was from the survey with the students, right? The students mentioned, okay, that was the top choice for them.
Well, this is the first that we've heard of that today in the announcement to the students. I know for me that we was going to change it to Sunday. So, and Sundays don't work for me as well.
Okay. Okay. So Source Christy and Nitra and so Katrina, what was our second highest? Was Saturday on the list at all?
Saturday, the second following, let me get it, Sunday was actually Monday evening.
Oh, goodness.
So let me just give you the breakdown of numbers. So
Okay.
we had 7 kids or 7 students that responded to Sunday. We had 6 students that responded as Monday evening. We had 5 students that responded Tuesday evening, 4 that responded Wednesday evening, again 4 Thursday evening, and 4 on Friday evening. So Saturday we had 5.
Okay.
We had 5 students that said that Saturday was good for them. Now keep in mind, this was the 17 students that were on the kickoff event. So there were some new students on today. So I'm not sure if the feeling is still the same, but that's the response that we got from the kickoff.
Okay. Okay.
I was gonna ask, could we gauge, because some of the same kids, a few of the same kids returned today, right? Like the boys, a few of them we saw before. Could we do it again on the same time? And if it's those same returning ones, do a vote then, you know, because they're the ones who's showing up. But that, I don't, either way, Saturday's fine for me, Sunday's fine. I was just asking.
And also with that, this is being recorded. Is there any way to do it live one time and then the second most popular show a video maybe? And then have maybe see how many people would look at the video and who